Okay, so a good example of words of affirmation would be, sweetheart, you are extremely good at optimizing our household. You made my life, you've changed my life.
Thank you.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Environmental design, Emilia, unbelievable. And it would be empty if I said something that wasn't valid.
The shame cues or triggers that they have, all of those are so effing important. And if you don't have a partner that is interested or is willing to understand that, that is a huge red flag, or is unwilling to accept the fact that it is a process of rewiring after your traumatic experience. Conscious couples, business partners, and individuals, welcome to the Conscious Couples podcast, where we share our life, love story, and relationship expertise to help you consistently cultivate the most magnificent relationship possible.
Never again will you feel hopeless and alone in your intimate relationship challenges. We'll help you have the courage to be your authentic self, communicate effectively, and constructively resolve conflict.
Having accumulated thousands of hours coaching, speaking, podcasting, and hosting live events with conscious couples all over the world, Alan and I are here to guide you in all things relationships.
Thank you again for tuning into the one place where it's not about you or me, it's about the we. Conscious couples and individuals, welcome back to another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. Today we have episode 182, a deeper dive into the 25 conscious love languages. Before we jump into this episode, as always, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Next Level Podcast Solutions. Next Level University as a company now works with, I track this every day, 110 podcasters and business owners,
So proud of you.
which is a big deal since that started with one. And it was us. If you want to start, grow, scale, and monetize a podcast, reach out to myself or my business partner, Kevin. Seriously, our production team is awesome. They produce this show, Next Level University, Evolve Ventures, all those podcasts. Sweetheart, the second thing is ladies first. What is your intention for today's episode?
So my intention is for anyone that's joining this podcast episode to finally locate where they might be conflicting in their relationship, because every relationship has a conflict, and to help them utilize this asset that has been so helpful over the last 5 years for so many couples, help them utilize it as their roadmap as they chart the future together, if they're growing together and desire that instead of apart.
Okay, so if you want to follow along with us, the digital asset that we are referring to is going to be revamped. So if you've already downloaded it in the past, can that. Throw it right in the trash, metaphorically, digital trash. We are having Emilia revamp it because we've made it much simpler. And we're going to go through, and the thing I want to open with, I have it on my phone here, is I have never once, so Emilia and I just looked it up, in October of 2020, nearly 5 years ago, in 1 month it'll be 5 years ago, we started coaching couples every weekend. Yeah. And it's grown into this whole thing. Emilia and I have 2 new clients, kind of new old clients in a way. If you're out there, you know who we're talking about. Keep it anonymous. And we were on with them on Thursday.
One day this week.
One of the days this week.
One of the days. They all blend together.
Yes, they do. And I have, in 5 years, sweetheart, of coaching couples, I have never once come across a couple that doesn't have at least one love language in conflict, including you and I.
Same.
And every time I talk to a new couple, I always, by the end of the first call, am like, we need to do the 25 conscious love languages. It's my go-to.
It's a great place to start. It's a great place to end. It's a great place to revisit as you evolve.
Would you agree that of all the work you and I have done together at the We, this is the most important thing that a couple could do together?
It is the most powerful digital asset that a couple
ever
could
created
use together. Yeah.
Even at Next Level University, I started that company with Kevin 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. We've created hundreds of digital assets. This is the most valuable digital asset I've ever co-created.
So much so that you and I, even have been sitting on, because you and I have used this digital asset to kind of expand it out into other relationships, not just intimate. We've found that this asset has come in handy with business partners and other relationships, friendship. At least I've used it with business partners. I've used it with friendship dynamics, and usually there's
family,
something in conflict. Yeah, family as well. Yeah, so it's so powerful beyond what we can even fathom.
So there's 25, and we have some extra time today, so this is going to be a long one. So if you are driving, commuting, 20 minutes, stick around, break it into 2, whatever it is. Production team, this is going to be 1 episode, but for anyone who's out there watching or listening, stick with us and split it up if you need to. But this will be longer than our traditional episodes. Okay, so we are going to do a revamp of this digital asset, and we're going to do green, yellow, red. So I'm going to give one example. So we'll use deep conversations. That's one of Emilia and I's favorites. Let's say that your intimate partner is red for deep conversations, meaning they don't care about it that much. And let's say it's green for you. That's a mismatch. So green, yellow, red, just like a stoplight. Green means it's super important to you. Yellow means, take it or leave it. Yep, red means I could give a fuck. Okay?
So all of these are grounded in what's important to you. So as you go through this, as the listener goes through this with us, we want them checking in on green, yellow, red. How important is this to you?
Not how important it is for you to give a gift, but how important it is to get a gift, as an example. Okay, so number 1 is quality time. And by the way, shout out to Gary Chapman. He wrote the book, The 5 Love Languages, and we expanded on his work.
Correct.
Okay, and this will eventually be our book, which is exciting. All right, so number 1 is quality time, and we're going to go through each, define it, and then we want you thinking green, yellow, or red. All right, so quality time, how would you define that?
The best way I could define it is my partner, or I'll just use partner, not just whoever I'm in the space with, but we're spending our primary focus together.
Nice.
So quality time is physically together with our primary focus on one another.
So an example where it's not quality time would be when you and I are working downstairs on our devices. That's not quality time.
Correct.
What is quality time is last night our Wi-Fi went out and it was just you and I and we were spending one-on-one time.
After we had been done eating.
Yes, agreed.
Because while we were
eating, it was that was the primary
that
focus.
Was the primary focus.
We got nachos at Qdoba.
It was so good.
And we didn't order them. They gave us free nachos.
And who doesn't want free nachos?
So my primary focus was that.
Same.
Okay, all right, nice. All right, number 2 is physical touch.
Should I ask you
No.
in this?
No, because that's going to be way too long.
Okay, we would just go back.
All right, so I'll give a tangible example. You give the sort of clinical definition.
Cool.
All right, so number 2 is physical touch.
Okay, physical touch is pretty self-explanatory when you have skin-on-skin contact.
Nice.
I'll leave it there.
Excellent. Moving on.
Moving on.
Now, so an example of not physical touch would be through clothing. So this doesn't count. If you're on YouTube, I'm holding Emilia's knee. That counts.
That counts.
Because that's skin-on-skin transfer of love and energy. Awesome.
I'm holding back my science. All of the science and the data underneath. It's, physical
because
contact.
We don't have time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll do episodes in the future on each of these.
Yep.
All right, so words of affirmation.
Affirming through verbal explicit words to your partner about what is already there. I was talking about this earlier on an IG Live.
Positive.
It's not necessarily just positive, though. Affirmations is affirming what is there. So, like, for example, if I receive words of affirmation for you, babe, I know
from me.
From you.
Sorry.
Babe, you're so great at field hockey. It's not a words of affirmation because I suck at, like, I don't even know if I'm good at field hockey.
I've never seen you play field
exactly.
hockey.
Yeah, but someone could be like, oh, well, that's enough. It's like, no, it needs to already be there for you to affirm it.
Agreed. Okay, so a good example of words of affirmation would be, sweetheart, you are extremely good at optimizing our household. It made my life, you've changed my life.
Thank you.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Environmental design, Emilia, unbelievable.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There are, and it would be empty if I said something that wasn't valid.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Right, because you're affirming something that's not there.
Agreed.
So it's not an
Which
actual affirmation.
some people do
all the time
to butter you up and
Yeah.
manipulate you. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Acts of service. Some people do that. Acts of service.
When you act in service, these are pretty explicit.
You're not supposed to use the word
I know.
in the definition.
When you do something for someone that they would appreciate.
You can tell these are the ones we didn't come up with.
Yeah, these are Gary Chapman's.
Yeah,
but it's pretty explicit, and this research got so far because it was so freaking simple, and we appreciate that.
So last night I got us Qdoba.
Yep.
On Uber Eats.
Yes.
And free nachos. So that's an act of service because I wanted to save Emilia time because she didn't have to cook.
Yeah, I was kitchen woman last night.
Yeah.
But then Alan did an act of service.
So
which
I
was
became kitchen man.
Yeah, you became kitchen man.
Kitchen
so
man.
That was awesome.
All right, so next is gifting, which I think should be gift giving personally on the new asset. Gift giving is because Gary Chapman, he has his 5.
He says gifting.
He said gift.
Yeah, but
does he say gifting?
I'm pretty sure.
He says gift giving, I think.
It's
We'll double check it. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so in this context on the asset, it's going to be what we've learned in our work is gifting, but there's a nuance here. Because gifting is giving someone else a gift, we've learned over time that some people feel so loved by receiving a gift. Yeah. Other people feel great giving a gift. Like there have been couples where they literally feel so good about giving their partner a gift, but actually hate receiving. Like they don't want gifts given to them.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so an example of that would be my mom always really, really loved the holidays. She loved giving gifts to my sister and I, particularly on Christmas. Even though, quite frankly, I don't really care much about gifts.
Yeah.
Particularly when they tell you how little you actually know me. I'm joking. All right, I knew Emilia would laugh at that.
Couples do that all the time.
They do that all the time.
It's like, here's your new fishing pole. It's like, you wanted a fishing pole. It's like, you don't want it? I didn't do that.
You got me a fishing pole for our anniversary.
A fishing pole because you love
it. Yeah, exactly. I do love that gift because it's awesome. So we won't get into it, but it's awesome. I used it this weekend. All right, deep conversations. Here we go, baby.
Let's go.
All right, so
we have turned the corner into our
the conscious love languages.
Mm-hmm. So, deep conversations, stimulating the mind, the heart, and the soul in the words that you exchange with your partner. Meaning, you're not just talking on the surface level with your partner. You're actually going deeper into existential conversations. What do you think about this? How do you feel about that? And deepening the experience through words.
Saying things that matter to people who care is a good quote. I heard it from Jim Rohn. He's a personal development speaker. Say things that matter to people who care. The opposite of small talk is a good way to describe this. A good example of this would be this conversation we're having right now with all of you is obviously not surface level.
Yeah, we're not talking about the weather, sports, politics, who did what, XYZ, when, where, what. No, we're talking about what our experience is and the human experience.
I got a text recently from someone, I'll keep it anonymous, and they said, hey, so-and-so did such and such. I don't know if you saw that on Facebook. And all I could think is, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care at all. And please don't text me things like this, because if I wanted to know what they were doing, I would go on Facebook. And so, surface level stuff is not for me. It's just not. Okay, so next is supporting one's growth.
When you are on a growth journey, your partner can be in a support role, or they can be the crabs in the bucket. And what we found with the conscious couples is that they are on their own growth journey, aka they're going to challenge themselves to do things that are harder than the average person. And when you support your partner's growth to this love language, you play an active role, not ever being the crab in the bucket.
Yeah. I promised Emilia when we first met I would always help her shine as bright as possible. We did an episode not long ago about one of your clients who was in a relationship and she was quitting drinking, and the other partner personalized that. And really deep down, what was happening is that partner was fearful that she was going to be outgrown by the person who was having healthier habits. Mm-hmm. So that was a crab in the bucket night for them.
Yeah.
And they've since grown through that, by the way. So shout out to you. Okay. Supporting one's goals. Oh, favorite. One of my favorite.
A lot of people have asked us about what's the difference between growth and goals.
Yeah.
And on the surface level, it does sound very similar. But the difference is growth might not have a very defined deadline, and it's more of a process. Whereas goals is very defined. There's more rigidity to it. There's more clarity around it. And it's less of an exploratory process than growth.
So, difference between goals and growth. A goal is an outcome that you achieve externally. Growth is who you are and who you become in pursuit of the goal.
Beautifully said.
So, thank you, love. I'm a speaker myself. Cute. So, supporting one's goals, what would be a good example of this? So I'm doing a 10-pound in 10-week challenge, and Emilia joined me in that. We have a next level fitness accountability group with almost 50 people in there now. And they're on fire in there. If you're in there, shout out to you. If you're not in there, how dare you? I'm kidding. If you want to get in there, though, reach out to me. My Instagram will be in the show notes. Just DM me and say, hey, I'd love to be in the fitness group. Everybody on fire. We've got people swimming. We've got people doing yoga. We got people doing Pilates. We got people squatting and deadlifting. We got every walk of life you can think of is in there from all over the world. It's awesome. And the only goal of that group is to keep you accountable to daily exercise. And the 10-pound in 10-week challenge is ending in 6 days. So we are 6 days out from weigh-ins.
Nice.
But that's neither here nor there. But my point is that you joined me in that and you support me in that, even though when I don't eat as much, sometimes I get a little crabby patty. And Emilia likes a bigger man. She likes when I'm more full and not scarce.
Frail and scarce.
All right, take it easy. Yeah, it's true though.
But
it's true.
This is a great example of when he's trying to calculate his macros, and usually I would give him 2 desserts.
Yeah.
I might take away 1 because calorically speaking, he only needs 1.
Very upsetting.
So that's me supporting his goals.
That is you
not
doing that.
Necessarily the growth.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happens. And
it's tough to be in that role.
Yeah.
I will say, for anyone who is in the role of supporting one's goals, it is really, really tough because you might be temporarily the bad guy, but you know you're doing it too because your partner gave you permission and asked you and said it's really important.
Yeah.
Even when they want the 2 desserts.
Quite frankly, and this is a good example of it, Emilia has been unbelievable. I work late often, and she's been really supportive of that, which has been really helpful, honestly. And I know that sucks sometimes, seriously.
It does. Yeah. And also that's supporting my goals too, in a way.
Agreed.
So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
A little over a year and a half ago, I attended my first relationship call with Alan and Emilia. And as a single mother, I was very curious what I was actually going to be able to take away from it. I was very blown away with how deep we could actually go in that first session alone. It really opened the doors and opened my eyes to a lot of my patterning and wounding around relationships. Through attending some of their live events and through work with them, I have really grown in confidence, in learning how to love and show up for myself, which has been huge. And it's really set the bar high when in terms of standards for relationships and what I desire and need out of a relationship. They very much practice what they preach, and it's so nice to see people working consciously on relationships. Again, it's really set the bar high for what I look for and what I desire in a relationship. So I'm super grateful to be able to learn and grow from them and be a part of this community.
Okay, next we have playfulness and humor. All I can think of is last night we were walking in the rain in the woods. It was awesome. And that was so fun.
Yeah,
that was so fun.
fun.
So playfulness and humor, what's the definition of that?
It's pretty self-explanatory, although what I will share in this is when you are in a state of play, you lose a little bit of a track of time. And this is something that has been researched. When you're in a state of play, you're in a state of flow. And so you lose that track of time. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to be that you lose track of time and you're like, oh, I must be playful. It's just those little cute nuances that has been discovered throughout your merging of 2 humorous, playful souls. And you kind of are able to do that without any sort of judgment.
Oh, the other night I came out of the kitchen wearing one. Nice. So Emilia's on the couch.
Oh my goodness.
And I came out of the kitchen because I went into the kitchen to get dessert or something, and I came out wearing one of the pans on my head as a hat, as a backwards hat. Yeah, that was fun.
It was playful and humorous.
Now, the key to playfulness and humor is it cannot be at your partner's expense.
Yes, that is so important, babe.
Right.
We didn't mention that.
Yeah, it's
because that used to really suck in past relationships.
Agreed.
It's cute to be playful and humorous, but not at your partner's expense.
Yeah, and you know when it is.
Yeah.
Right, when you throw a stinger. Okay, food experiences. Love these.
A lot of couples will get started by eating together, right? Meaning they go on their first date and it's around some sort of cafe or food. It's, again,
for us, it was sushi.
Rather self-explanatory.
We closed the place down.
But you create a whole experience and it's centered around food. And you and I both love food. And this is something that across cultures has continued to hit the highs.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a meaningful experience, and it's not just food related, but it's the experience around the food.
Nice. An example of that would be Emilia and I's first date. We got sushi together after axe throwing.
Yep.
And I was pumped to realize that she ordered as much food as I did. And the waitress may or may not have looked at you weird.
She judged me hardcore.
She did. She definitely did.
Like,
because
girl,
you were very
catch
small.
me at the gym.
You were this very small. You were a lot.
I was
a lot
frail,
thinner than
tiny
you are
little,
now. Yep.
debilitated child.
And I was 210 pounds and just huge. And you ordered the same amount as me. Yeah, you.
But here's the thing: our food experiences. If we have all home cooked meals, and I say that because I'm air fryer queen, I can tell that Alan is less fulfilled because
100%.
he loves food experiences. Like, food is so important to him. It's a love language, and that's why we had Qdoba last night.
I walked into this office before hitting record, and I said, "Life is better with Qdoba."
And I'm like, yeah, but it's not nearly as better in my life as it obviously is.
Tonight, I know what we're having, and I'm excited for it.
Right.
So it's awesome.
It's
yeah,
great.
so that's a big one for me. So that'll be green for me. All right, next one is sexual intimacy.
Oh, we love this one. So when we say sexual intimacy, what I found talking about this with couples and with people behind the scenes is people just immediately think of penetrative sex. And it's really important for me to share as a conscious couple that sexual intimacy is not just about penetrative sex.
Yeah, it's not just about the physical penetration.
Not at all.
It's about the entire experience.
The
Just
whole
like food. It's
experience.
not just about the food. It's about the whole experience.
Right.
And sexual intimacy, I always say this. There's a pre-game, there's a during, and there's a post-game. And all of it is important.
All of it.
All of it is
equally important.
Yep.
And honestly, given what we've learned behind the scenes with couples, is so many couples have a mismatch around how important it actually is, gender-wise.
Yeah.
So if you have a heteronormative or a male-female relationship, they are wildly off on actually what is, number one, sex. What does sex mean? What is intimacy? What's the difference between sex and intimacy? And a lot of conversations are not had in that arena because of the fact that it's so taboo, and there's a lot of shame around it.
So the simplest possible form, and we could do a whole episode on this, is foreplay, which is the pre-game, sexual intimacy, which is the game, and then cuddles, snuggles, conversation, connection, the post-game. All three matter. That's what I would just say.
Fair.
High level. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sexual intimacy. Next is understanding partners' trauma, triggers, and shame. This is one that we're going to have to spend a little time on. So
I do have one last comment about the sexual intimacy. It's not just about that, like, sexual act. Sexual intimacy also could be like the cute little things that you guys do that are invoking desire throughout the day or throughout the week, et cetera, et cetera. So just wanted to say
like
that.
a sexy text.
Or like quick butt grab, like, cute little things.
You would love what I... So next...
That look that he just gave me, cute little things.
Very nice.
Okay, so, sorry.
I'm trying to be respectful
I am
on
too.
camera.
Thank you.
Okay, so...
Okay. Sorry, Beth.
No, yeah.
Okay, would you please go to the next
Beth
one?
is my mother. What is the next one? I'm off now. Understanding partners' trauma, triggers, and shame.
These ones are great. Okay, so we all, as human beings, despite what your grandmother or your grandfather wants to tell you, we all have had a traumatic experience, if not many. And as a result
Not me.
of our traumatic experiences, we also have shame and we get triggered, right? So understanding what your partner's traumas are, understanding how that rewired their brain and their set of experiences, and therefore the shame cues or triggers that they have, right? All of those are so effing important.
Tangible example.
And if you don't have a partner that is interested or is willing to understand that, that is a huge red flag.
Yeah.
Or is unwilling to accept the fact that it is a process of rewiring after your traumatic experience. So an example.
Oh, I have a really good one, but I want to hear yours.
Okay. Well, I was going to share with the audience that, like, for example, I had a micro T traumatic experience where one of my partners had.
What is micro T level?
Micro T is like a small, in the context of traumas. It was a small, really quick, happened very fast, but the impact of it stayed with me, right? And
so little T trauma versus big T trauma. Can you go into that briefly?
Okay, so a little T trauma is the best way that I could show briefly the difference is the magnitude of the impact to you and how it rewired your brain, essentially, in your neurochemistry. So micro T trauma, a lot of people just think, oh, you like maybe sliced open your finger cooking something, right? Where you didn't cut a bone or whatever. But because you really get repulsed by blood, that might have stayed with you emotionally and shook you up for quite some time. Okay. So it's the intensity, density, duration, for like that, how much it impacted you. And the micro T trauma is different from the macro T trauma or the big T trauma, which is commonly referred to as a big magnitude that still stays with you long, but it's literally altered not only just what happens inside here, but also externally of you.
An example of a big T trauma would be one of my clients, him and his best friend, his close friend. Mm-hmm. They were in a tornado when he was 8, and his friend died in front of him.
Oh,
that's a big T trauma that he had to work through.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure there's little T traumas that come up and trigger the whole thing. So
absolutely.
That's just a good example. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yep,
the reason we're talking about this is understanding partners' trauma, triggers, and shame.
Yeah, because usually because of the pathologization around trauma, right? A lot of people still will have grandparents and parents to this day.
Pretty girl, what's pathology mean?
Pathology means it's like bad and it's wrong and it's defective.
Okay.
So if you experience trauma, there's something wrong with you, there's something bad about you, and now you're defective.
Which is shame. Shaming people.
That is the byproduct of shame, yep. Right? So that idea and that mindset around that, like, oh, you were sexually abused when you were a child, or oh, you were molested, or oh, you experienced a tornado and now you're afraid of going near the weather, like, you're less than, you're defective. You are being pathologized and shamed as a result of now how you have been changed by the trauma.
I had a ex-girlfriend way back who was so afraid for her school to find out that her dad was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And it was in the paper, he hurt her, and it was in the paper, it was a whole thing. And she was so afraid that she would be seen as the beaten girl or the...
Less than.
Less than.
Yeah.
And it's so not real. It's not true. If anything, it's good for you for getting through that and making something of yourself. So I have the opposite view.
Right.
But I can see that because I used to hide certain things when my stepdad and mom would fight, and I didn't want people to see how dysfunctional our household was because I thought they'd see me as less than too.
Exactly. And so that we've gone into a little bit about the function of shame. So we all have a shame response, and we can get into a whole nother episode, but why we mentioned this and went a little bit deep into this is because when you experience your traumas, your brain is quite literally wired for specific cues that triggers and re-triggers your neurochemistry to signal that you are in danger, you're around something. So for example, one of my partners had picked me up and thrown me on a couch from high up, and I share this with you, and that was a micro T trauma for me because I hit the couch, it was quite physiologically painful. It was terrifying to literally like be thrown. And he thought it was playful in this sexual engaging way. And so I remember Alan at one point, he like lifted me up in a really sweet, loving hug, and my body started to freak out.
Well, it's not just that, love. You also were pushed into pools, pushed off.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Physical.
Your
aggression.
brother would push you in the pool.
Yeah.
And all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's not just that one incident.
No, it's not.
It's a stack of. Emilia and I we have quarries near where we live, and we were near the edge of the quarry last night, and you playfully were like, I just got the urge to push you in the water. And we would and you were like, I would never do that.
Yeah.
The truth is, growing up, a lot of people do a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah.
And I was pushed
you
off
around.
cliffs, like
Yeah.
into water, all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
again, very bullied growing up by some certain people that I consider morons. Okay.
Yeah.
Conscious couples and individuals from all over the world, welcome. What's happening? So I just wanted to jump in here real quick. This is just Alan. I just want to let you know that episode 182, when Emilia and I recorded it in her office in the Conscious Couples podcast studio, it took an hour long to go through all of these conscious love languages. And Emilia and I were talking. We're like, you know what? We're going to break this into 2 episodes. I know a lot of you listen on your commutes. I know it can be difficult to listen to a full hour-long episode. So Emilia and I are going to break it into part 1 and part 2. The link to the Conscious Couples worksheet is still going to be in the show notes on both episode 182 and 183. 182 and 183 respectively. 183 is going to launch next Monday. So if you're listening to this, you are on episode 182, and 183 part 2 is going to be launching on next Monday. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, it's not about you or me, it's about the we. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. We love connecting with the Conscious Couples community, so please check the show notes to connect with us and say hello on social media.
If you and your partner resonated with this episode, please leave us a 5-star review at the link in the show notes and share this with someone you love. Until next time, it's not about you or me, it's about the we. We'll talk to you next time.